A parabola has its vertex at -2, 3 and a focus at 0, 3. Write an equation in vertex form. So I'm going to just start by putting a point on my paper somewhere. Okay, so here's -2, 3. Okay, and the focus is at 0, 3. Okay, so what that means is that this thing did not change in the y direction, but it in fact moved to the right in the x direction. So this will be 0, 3. And so that means the parabola has to point that way because the focus has to be inside the parabola. Okay? So I know that this has an equation of x equals a y minus k squared plus h. Okay? So if I can find k and h and a, I've got an equation. Well, k and h define the vertex. Okay? So I know that y minus k is a shift up. Well, this has been shifted down. So this will be y plus 2 because it's been shifted down. Anytime something's grouped, it's going to be backwards, opposite in mathematics. So plus 2 is down 2. And this is not grouped, so it'll actually match. It'll say plus 3. Okay, plus 3. And we got to put our square on there. Okay, so we've got that, we've got that. What are we missing? We're missing this a term. Well, what do we know? We know P is equal to 1 over 4a. Okay, we know that for a fact. And if I come in here and think about it for a second, from here to here, that's P. And I went from -2, 3 to 0, 3. So the x value changed a quantity of 2. So if this side here is 2, solve that for a. Okay? So if I multiply, right, this is 2, multiply by 4a, I get 8a equals 1. Which gives me a equals what? 1/8. Okay? So now that I found a, I can put that where it belongs in the equation. And voila, I have an equation for this parabola. So with nothing but the vertex and the focus, I can write this equation. And then, of course, if they ask you for standard form, all you'd have to do is expand this, y plus 2 times y plus 2. Distribute that 1/8 and then add 3. Okay? But they didn't ask for that, so we're not going to do it. Okay? All right. One more question here. An application. An application. A satellite dish has a width of 140 feet and a depth of 42 feet. How far above the surface of the dish would the receiver need to be placed? Okay? And they want this rounded to the to some amount of a foot. But the satellite dish has a width of 140 and a depth of 42. How far above the dish would the receiver be placed? So this is asking me for P. It is asking me because the receiver would be at the focus, and the focus is P units from the vertex. Okay? So I'm going to just draw a picture. Rule 1 in trigonometry is draw a picture. And since this is a trigonometry question, we're going to draw a picture. Okay? And I'm going to call that 0, 0. I'm going to put this guy here at 0, 0. Now, this is 140 feet wide. Now, what that means is we're going to go 70 feet this way, and we're going to go 70 feet this way. So this point is going to have an x value of 70, and this point will have an x value of -70. And then, of course, it's 42 feet high, so we're going to go over 70, up 42. And here we're going to go left 70 and up 42. So there I've got these points. Okay? So then I'm going to write an equation. Generic equation for a vertical parabola is ax minus h squared plus k. And notice I decided to put the vertex at 0, 0. Why? Because I'm lazy and it's easy. So because this is 0, 0, y equals a, and x minus 0 just becomes x squared, and k is 0. So ta-da, y equals x squared. With an a factor, well, I need to find the value of a. How do I do that? Well, I know that this parabola goes through the points 70, 42, or negative 70, 42, whichever makes you happier. I'm going to use the positive because I like it better. So here I'm going to put 70 for x, 42 for y. So I get 42 equals a times 70 squared. Well, 70 squared is 4,900. And so I get 42 equals 4,900a. Divide, and what do we get? 42 over 4,900 equals a. Well, I don't want a, I want p. What do I know? I know that p equals 1 over 4a. Okay? And so what are we going to do? We're going to take our p value and we're going to say 1 divided by 4 times that awful fraction. Okay? And you're going to type that in. Okay, so 4 times 42 is going to be 168. And so you get 1 divided by 168 over 4,900. Okay? And you're going to get a really awful decimal. And that's going to be your answer for P. Okay? So you'll type that in. 1 divided by 4 times 42 over 4,900. Press equals. And whatever decimal you get, that's your value for P. And that tells you how far above that dish to put this thing here. Okay? That's all you do. Okay? So then that value gives us a P, but also we can take this A value and reduce it or whatever. So we're looking at like 21 over 2450. Yeah, 21 over 2450 sounds right for A. Okay, so I've got an equation now. So part A is that P value. Just type this in a calculator, press enter, you get a decimal. Okay, doesn't matter. Part B, what's the width of the dish at a height of 15 feet? Okay, so height is going to be what? That's going to be our Y value. Okay, so our equation is Y equals 21 over 2450 x squared. Okay, that's our equation based on part A. And they want to know the width if the height is 15. Well, Y equals 15. So what they're telling me is to plug in 15 for Y. Okay, what do? You're going to multiply by this, divide by this, right? So we end up with 15 times 2450 over 21 equals x squared. And then what's our last step? Just coordinate off so that we can keep these separate. What's our last step? Take the square root of both sides. So x is going to equal the square root of 15 times 2450 over 21. And you're going to all of that inside of this radical. And whenever you take a radical, you got to remember plus or minus. Why is it plus or minus? Because you're going to go up 15 feet, and you can go plus this way or minus this way. Now, we're not quite done. Okay, this is going to give you some decimal, and it's going to be x equals, and you get some decimal. This is not your answer. We want the width. Okay? And I go back over to my picture. If I go up 15 feet, here's x, here's negative x, okay? And from here to here is the width. So let's just make up a number. If x is 20, that's 20. That's 20. W is 40. Oh, okay. So since x is a distance, we're going to take the positive root. We'll get a number here. The width is 2 times whatever that x value is. And again, all you need to finish this up is a calculator. So type those numbers in, see what you get. If you have questions, let me know.